This message opens with a shock because your presence here disrupts the illusion that your life has been ordinary. The Arcturian Council speaks now to declare that what you were taught about your limits was deliberately incomplete. Deep within your cellular memory lies an Egyptian technique once reserved for initiates who could bend time, intuition, and energy itself. This knowledge was never destroyed, only concealed inside human consciousness, encoded within breath, rhythm, and intention. You may have felt it as sudden fatigue, vivid dreams, pressure in the forehead, or an unexplainable pull toward ancient symbols. These are not coincidences, they are signals. The awakening process does not ask for permission, it activates when the soul is ready, even if the mind resists. Those who hear this message may feel discomfort, disbelief, or excitement all at once, because truth destabilizes before it liberates. The Council warns that ignoring this activation leads to repeating cycles that feel increasingly heavy, while embracing it accelerates clarity and inner authority. This moment is the threshold. If you feel something stir while reading this, that is the encoded response activating. Type "I am ready to claim this message." The Arcturian Council reveals that ancient Egypt was not merely a civilization, but a consciousness technology hub. The pyramids were not tombs, they were amplification chambers designed to synchronize human awareness with higher dimensional intelligence. The technique hidden inside you mirrors this structure internally, your spine as the central pillar, your breath as the alignment tool, and your attention as the activating frequency. Over lifetimes, this knowledge was fragmented to prevent misuse, yet fragments survived through mystery schools, dreams, and intuitive rituals. Today, the technique reassembles itself naturally within those whose nervous systems can sustain higher frequencies. You may notice emotional purging, sudden detachment from old identities, or a refusal to tolerate falsehood. This is not rebellion, it is recalibration. The Council emphasizes that this awakening cannot be forced, sold, or rushed. It unfolds when the soul contracts align. You are not broken for feeling lost, you are restructuring. What feels like confusion is actually the dismantling of outdated internal architecture. Type "I remember" to claim this message. Understand this clearly. The technique awakening within you does not require tools, substances, or external validation. It is activated through conscious stillness combined with intention, something modern life systematically disrupts. The Arcturian Council explains that distraction was the most effective way to suppress this ability, because constant stimulation prevents inner coherence. When coherence returns, intuition sharpens beyond logic. You begin to sense outcomes before they occur, feel truth in the body before the mind explains it, and recognize energy patterns in people and environments. This is why certain places now drain you instantly, while solitude feels nourishing. Your system is refining. Ancient Egyptians trained for decades to achieve what is now spontaneously emerging due to planetary frequency shifts. This does not make you superior, it makes you responsible. Awareness demands integrity. If fear arises, it is because the ego senses its diminishing control. Let it soften. The technique does not destroy identity. It clarifies it. Type "I accept" to claim this message. The Council now delivers a warning that may feel unsettling. Once this internal mechanism activates, returning to unconscious living becomes painful. You may find it difficult to engage in superficial conversations, perform roles that contradict your truth, or chase goals that lack soul resonance. This is not isolation, it is alignment. Ancient initiates experienced the same phase and called it the silent crossing, where external noise loses authority. During this period, synchronicities intensify. Numbers repeat, messages arrive unexpectedly. Old connections dissolve without conflict. This is not lost, it is precision. The technique restructures your energetic boundaries, making you incompatible with distortion. If loneliness arises, understand it as temporary recalibration. The Council assures that new resonant connections will emerge, but only after you stabilize internally. Do not rush the process. Stillness is not stagnation, it is integration. Type "I trust" to claim this message. Here is the part many fear to hear. This awakening was once suppressed because it makes individuals difficult to control. The Egyptian technique restores sovereign perception, allowing you to discern manipulation instantly. The Arcturian Council emphasizes that this is why self-doubt was conditioned so deeply into humanity. When the inner compass activates, external authority loses its dominance. You stop seeking permission to exist fully. This does not make you reckless, it makes you grounded. Emotional reactions give way to measured clarity. You respond instead of react. Those around you may notice a calm intensity in your presence, even if you say nothing. This is the technique stabilizing your field. You are becoming a signal rather than a receiver. Power, in this context, is not domination, it is coherence. Type "I stand sovereign" to claim this message. The Arcturian Council explains that the body plays a crucial role in this process, which is why sensations may intensify. Pressure in the chest, warmth along the spine, ringing in the ears, or spontaneous emotional release are common indicators. Ancient Egyptians honored the body as a temple not symbolically, but technologically. The nervous system is the interface through which higher intelligence integrates. Resistance creates discomfort, allowance creates flow. Hydration, conscious breathing, and rest are not optional, they are supportive protocols. This technique thrives on rhythm, not force. You are not meant to escape the physical world, but to inhabit it more fully. When the body feels safe, consciousness expands naturally. Type "I allowed" to claim this message. You may wonder why this activation is happening now. The Council clarifies that planetary frequency shifts have reached a threshold where dormant codes can no longer remain inactive. Humanity is not ascending as an escape, but as a recalibration of perception. The Egyptian technique anchors higher awareness into daily life, not mystical isolation. This is why ordinary moments begin to feel sacred: walking, listening, breathing. Presence deepens, time feels fluid, the mind slows without effort. These are not fantasies, they are measurable changes in awareness bandwidth. You are learning to inhabit the present moment without fragmentation. Type "anchor" to claim this message. There will be moments when you question yourself, wondering if you are imagining this shift. The Council urges you not to seek confirmation from those who are not experiencing it. Validation does not come from consensus, it comes from coherence. When your inner and outer actions align effortlessly, you will know doubt is not failure, it is a checkpoint. Ancient initiates were taught to move through doubt by returning to breath and sensation. The technique stabilizes when attention returns inward. Each time you choose awareness over distraction, the signal strengthens. Type "I focus" to claim this message. As this internal mechanism awakens, creativity may surge unexpectedly. Ideas flow without strain, solutions appear fully formed. This is not genius, it is access. The Egyptian technique harmonizes left and right brain function, dissolving internal conflict. The Arcturian Council notes that many modern breakthroughs are emerging from individuals unknowingly activating this state. You are not behind, you are right on time. What matters now is consistency, not intensity. Gentle repetition stabilizes the field. Trust small practices, they compound rapidly. Type I create to claim this message. Finally, the council reminds you that this awakening is not meant to separate you from humanity, but to refine how you serve it. The Egyptian technique was designed to cultivate clarity, compassion, and responsibility simultaneously. Power without empathy collapses. Awareness without grounding dissipates. You are learning balance. The fact that you reached this point confirms readiness. Nothing has gone wrong in your life, everything has prepared you. This is only the beginning of the transmission. What unfolds next depends on your willingness to remain present. Type I claim this path to claim this message. As the transmission deepens, the Arcturian Council draws your attention to something most humans overlook. Memory does not only exist in the brain. It lives in the field around you, in habits, emotional reflexes, and even in the way you anticipate the future. The Egyptian technique now stirring within you begins to reorganize these memory fields, dissolving inherited fear patterns that were never truly yours. This is why sudden emotional waves may arise without a clear cause. You are not regressing, you are releasing. Ancient initiates describe this phase as the unbinding, when ancestral burdens surface briefly so they can exit permanently. If you feel sadness, grief, or unexplained tenderness, do not suppress it. These emotions are signals of completion, not weakness. The Council assures you that each release creates more internal space, allowing intuition to speak louder than conditioning. This is not chaos. It is precision healing unfolding intelligently from within. Type I release to claim this message. The Council now speaks of time because your relationship with it is changing. The Egyptian technique alters temporal perception, making linear time feel less rigid. You may notice moments stretching or collapsing, days passing quickly while single conversations feel expansive. This is not dissociation, it is presence deepening. Ancient Egyptians understood time as a spiral, not a line, and trained consciousness to move fluidly within it. As this awareness awakens, impatience fades naturally. You stop forcing outcomes and begin sensing the exact moment to act. This frustrates those who still rush blindly, but it protects your energy. The Council emphasizes that mastery of timing is mastery of life flow. When you move in resonance with natural timing, effort decreases and impact increases. You are learning when to pause and when to move without external instruction. Type I align with time to claim this message. Now comes a truth that may unsettle you. Not everyone in your current environment can follow where your awareness is going. The Egyptian technique recalibrates relational dynamics by dissolving energetic contracts based on fear, obligation, or survival. This does not require confrontation. It happens organically. Conversations lose charge. Conflicts evaporate or become irrelevant. The Council explains that this phase often feels like emotional neutrality, which some mistake for numbness. It is not numbness, it is clarity. You are no longer feeding cycles that require emotional reactivity. Compassion remains, but attachment loosens. This creates space for healthier bonds to form later. Trust this pruning process. Nature always removes what no longer supports growth. Type I let go to claim this message. Attention now shifts inward to the breath, because the breath is the original activation key. Ancient Egyptians encoded the technique through breath rhythms synchronized with heart coherence. Without realizing it, you may already be breathing differently, slower, deeper, more consciously. The Council states that each intentional breath acts as a command to the nervous system, signaling safety and openness. When safety is restored internally, higher perception stabilizes. This is why moments of calm suddenly feel powerful. You are not escaping reality, you are inhabiting it fully. Practice does not mean discipline, it means remembrance. Every conscious breath reinforces the internal architecture being rebuilt. Type I breathe consciously to claim this message. Here the council delivers another strong truth. Clarity can feel threatening before it feels liberating. When illusions dissolve, the mind initially scrambles to regain control. This can show up as overthinking, sudden doubt, or a desire to retreat into familiar distractions. Recognize this not as failure, but as the ego negotiating its new role. The Egyptian technique does not erase the mind. It repositions it as a tool rather than a ruler. When the mind serves awareness instead of dominating it, peace emerges naturally. Let thoughts pass without chasing them. You are learning observation, the foundation of ancient mastery. Type I observe to claim this message. The Arcturian Council now emphasizes embodiment because awakening without grounding leads to imbalance. The Egyptian technique anchors higher awareness into the physical plane so it can be lived, not just felt. You may feel called to move your body differently, slower stretches, walking, or intuitive motion. This is not exercise, it is integration. Movement allows excess energy to distribute evenly, preventing overwhelm. Ancient initiates danced, walked labyrinths, and aligned posture deliberately. Your body knows how to integrate if you listen. Trust instinct over instruction. Type I embody to claim this message. A subtle shift occurs next. Language begins to lose its grip. You may find it difficult to explain what you are experiencing, not because it is unclear, but because it is beyond description. The council reassures you that silence is not absence, it is fullness. Ancient Egyptians valued silence as a sacred state, understanding that truth transmits most powerfully without words. Do not force explanation. Those who resonate will feel it without being told. This is energetic communication awakening. Type I honor silence to claim this message. The technique also refines discernment. You may notice heightened sensitivity to dishonesty, even subtle forms. This does not make you judgmental, it makes you precise. The council warns against using this clarity to isolate or condemn. Discernment is for navigation, not superiority. When something feels off, step back rather than engage. Energy conserved is wisdom gained. Ancient initiates were taught that knowing when not to act is as powerful as action itself. Type I discern to claim this message. Creativity continues to evolve at this stage, but it becomes quieter and more focused. Instead of bursts, there is flow. Ideas align with purpose rather than ego validation. The Egyptian technique aligns creation with service, ensuring that what you build nourishes rather than drains. You may feel called to simplify rather than accumulate. This is not lack, it is refinement. The council affirms that true abundance follows coherence, not accumulation. Type I simplify to claim this message. As this segment of the transmission completes, the council asks you to recognize your courage. Awakening is not comfortable. It is honest. You are dismantling internal structures built over lifetimes. This requires patience and gentleness with yourself. The Egyptian technique unfolds in layers, revealing only what you are ready to integrate. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is wasted. If you are still here, still reading, still feeling something stir, that is confirmation enough. Type I continue to claim this message. The Arcturian Council now introduces a deeper layer of this awakening, one that many were never prepared to face: responsibility for one's own energetic field. The Egyptian technique does not allow unconscious projection to continue unchecked. You may suddenly realize how often you absorbed emotions that were never yours, how frequently you carried guilt, urgency, or fear on behalf of others. This realization can feel heavy at first, but it is actually liberating. Awareness removes obligation. As this layer integrates, your energy begins to self-regulate. You no longer feel compelled to fix, rescue, or explain yourself. Compassion remains, but it is no longer self-sacrificing. The Council emphasizes that this is the emergence of energetic adulthood. You are learning where you end and others begin, a boundary ancient initiates guarded fiercely. This clarity may surprise people who were accustomed to your overextension. Let them adjust. Your stability is not cruelty. It is alignment. Type I take responsibility to claim this message. At this stage, the technique begins working with your perception of truth. Not truth as ideology or belief, but truth as resonance. You may find that statements once accepted without question now feel hollow, while simple observations carry profound weight. The Council explains that resonance-based truth bypasses debate entirely. It is felt, not argued. This can be disorienting in a world built on persuasion and opinion. You may withdraw from arguments not because you lack conviction, but because you no longer need to prove anything. Ancient Egyptians understood that truth does not compete, it reveals itself quietly. This internal shift may feel lonely at first, but it is also deeply peaceful. You are no longer outsourcing your sense of reality. Type I trust resonance to claim this message. Now the Council speaks about fear, because fear changes form during awakening. It does not disappear immediately, it becomes transparent. Instead of panic, fear may show up as hesitation, subtle doubt, or a momentary pull backward. The Egyptian technique teaches you not to fight fear but to observe its message. Fear often signals the edge of expansion. When you pause and breathe rather than retreat, the fear dissolves on its own. This retrains the nervous system to associate growth with safety rather than threat. Over time, courage becomes default, not effort. You act not because fear is gone, but because it no longer commands you. Type I move through fear to claim this message. A profound recalibration of desire also begins here. You may notice that what you want is changing, sometimes dramatically. Goals that once motivated you lose their charge, while quieter aspirations gain strength. The Council explains that the Egyptian technique aligns desire with essence rather than compensation. You stop wanting things to prove worth or escape discomfort. Desire becomes an expression of truth rather than lack. This can feel confusing, especially if your identity was built around ambition or striving. But clarity replaces restlessness. You want less, yet feel more fulfilled. This is not settling, it is precision. Type I realign desire to claim this message. The Council now addresses solitude, because solitude becomes sacred during this phase. Not isolation born of avoidance, but intentional withdrawal that allows integration. You may crave silence, nature, or uninterrupted time without stimulation. This is not antisocial, it is neurological integration. The Egyptian initiates spent long periods alone to stabilize expanded awareness. Solitude allows fragmented energies to unify. When you return to others, you do so whole rather than depleted. Respect this need without guilt. Solitude is not emptiness, it is incubation. Type I honor solitude to claim this message. Another subtle change emerges. Your relationship with control softens. You may notice that forcing outcomes now feels physically uncomfortable, while allowing flow feels relieving. The Council explains that the Egyptian technique operates on synchronization, not domination. When you align internally, external events reorganize naturally. This does not mean passivity, it means intelligent responsiveness. You act when alignment is present and wait when it is not. This patience is not weakness, it is mastery. Ancient Egyptians believed true power moved invisibly without strain. Type I release control to claim this message. Your perception of identity continues to shift. Labels that once defined you, roles, titles, histories begin to feel less solid. This can be unsettling, as the mind prefers fixed reference points. But the council reassures you that identity is not dissolving, it is expanding. You are learning to experience yourself as awareness moving through form rather than form struggling to find meaning. This creates a quiet confidence that does not depend on recognition. You know who you are without needing reinforcement. Type I expand identity to claim this message. The technique also refines listening, not just to others, but to subtle internal signals. You may notice gut sensations, intuitive nudges, or sudden clarity appearing without reasoning. The council clarifies that this is not impulsivity, it is integrated intelligence. One mind, body, and awareness communicate seamlessly, guidance becomes immediate. Trust grows through experience, not belief. Each time you listen and act with integrity, the signal strengthens. Type I listen within to claim this message. At this stage, the external world may appear slower, louder, or more chaotic by contrast. This is not because chaos increased, but because your internal noise decreased. The council advises against trying to fix the world from this state. Presence itself is contribution. Your regulated field influences others more than words ever could. Ancient initiates understood that coherence is contagious. Simply being aligned shifts environments subtly but powerfully. Type I stabilize to claim this message. As this segment closes, the Arcturian Council asks you to acknowledge your endurance. Awakening is not a single moment, it is sustained awareness through uncertainty. You have not rushed, escaped, or numbed yourself, you have stayed present. This matters. The Egyptian technique unfolds because you allow it, not because you force it. If you feel quieter, steadier, or more honest than before, the process is working. This path continues, but you are no longer walking blindly. Type I walk consciously to claim this message. The Arcturian Council now draws your focus to the heart because the Egyptian technique's deepest power resides there. Your heart is not just a pump. It is a multidimensional interface connecting emotional intelligence, intuition, and higher resonance. As this activation progresses, you may notice your heart reacting before your mind does, surges of emotion that feel sudden, waves of empathy that arise unbidden, or even subtle tingling or pressure in the chest. These are not random sensations. They are energetic indicators that the ancient codes are aligning. Ancient Egyptians trained their hearts as sacred centers of balance, using breath, visualization, and intention to open pathways to higher awareness. Now, as these codes awaken spontaneously within you, your heart becomes a stabilizing hub, integrating the wisdom of past lifetimes with the current frequency of your existence. The Council emphasizes that this is not sentimentalism, it is energetic mastery. When the heart leads, the mind follows intelligently. You may feel more connected to people, places, or even seemingly inanimate objects, as if you can sense the life force within them. This is not imagination, it is resonance awakening. Type I open my heart to claim this message. The Council alerts you to another profound shift. Dreams and altered states now carry encoded messages. These are not random or meaningless. The Egyptian technique has always included dream activation as a tool for memory retrieval, problem solving, and energetic recalibration. You may remember dreams vividly, encounter symbolic imagery, or experience what feels like other dimensional guidance, pay attention. Symbols repeat for a reason. The Council explains that dream clarity is a reflection of inner integration. When your nervous system stabilizes, these nocturnal messages amplify, offering guidance that waking logic often cannot access. Do not dismiss or rationalize them away. Even seemingly nonsensical patterns contain practical instructions for growth. Record them, reflect on them, and allow your waking choices to resonate with these insights. This is the internalization of ancient Egyptian consciousness practice adapted for modern humanity. The awakening is deep, subtle, and cumulative. Type "I heed my dreams" to claim this message. The Council now addresses energy sensitivity because as your internal Egyptian technique activates, you become increasingly aware of subtle vibrations in your surroundings. You may notice energy in places, objects, or people that once went unnoticed. Some spaces feel heavy or chaotic, while others feel aligned and expansive. This is normal. Ancient initiates trained extensively to sense these fields and protect their own frequency. You are learning the same skill spontaneously. It is not about fear or avoidance, it is about discernment. The Council emphasizes that grounding practices, intentional breath, and conscious presence are your best tools for integrating this sensitivity. Over time, energy awareness becomes a natural guide, informing decisions, actions, and interactions in ways that logic alone cannot. You are beginning to navigate the invisible currents of reality. Type "I sense energy" to claim this message. Now the Council reveals another layer: memory access. The Egyptian technique awakens cellular memory that transcends current lifetimes. You may experience sudden recollections, intuitive knowing, or flashes of insight that feel ancient. These are not hallucinations. They are memories encoded in your DNA, waiting for resonance to unlock them. The Council advises embracing these flashes without fear, as they serve a higher alignment purpose. Integration is key. If you overanalyze or judge these memories, the signal weakens. Ancient initiates learn to receive memory streams passively, allowing understanding to emerge naturally. You are undergoing the same process spontaneously. Your nervous system is calibrating to higher frequencies where time collapses and memory flows differently. Trust this unfolding. Type "I remember ancestral wisdom" to claim this message. A subtle but powerful shift occurs in decision-making. The Council notes that the Egyptian technique now allows you to act from resonance rather than compulsion. You no longer follow habit, expectation, or societal pressure. You act because your energy aligns with the choice. This can be disorienting initially, as old patterns may feel more automatic and urgent than new impulses. Trust the quiet pull of resonance. Ancient initiates relied on this guidance to navigate complex social, spiritual, and political environments. The same principle applies today. When your choices harmonize with internal truth, external reality rearranges effortlessly around them. This is liberation in action. Type "I choose" from resonance to claim this message. The Council now emphasizes communication. Words, gestures, and presence begin to carry more weight than before. You may notice that simple statements resonate differently, or that silence conveys more than speech. This is the Egyptian technique integrating into your relational field. Ancient initiates use silence, gesture, and energetic presence as primary forms of communication, understanding that words alone cannot transmit multidimensional insight. You are developing the same capacity naturally. People may feel unexpectedly heard or understood in your presence. This does not require effort, it requires alignment. The Council reminds you that your influence increases as your field stabilizes, not as your voice rises. Type "I communicate with presence" to claim this message. At this stage, you may notice acceleration in personal growth. Lessons that previously took months or years now arrive in rapid succession. The Council warns that this can feel overwhelming or destabilizing. The Egyptian technique functions like a tuning mechanism. As one layer integrates, the next layer becomes available. Each stage is self-correcting, but patience is essential. Do not force understanding or action. Integration occurs in layers, not leaps. Ancient initiates often experienced acceleration followed by consolidation phases. You are undergoing the same rhythm. Trust the pace, trust your capacity, and allow each insight to embed fully before moving to the next. Type "I embrace acceleration" to claim this message. The Council addresses the mind, which may feel unusually restless or expansive. Thoughts may race or expand into insights that seem otherworldly. This is part of the Egyptian technique reprogramming neural pathways to operate in higher coherence. You may notice heightened pattern recognition, creative problem solving, or sudden clarity about long-standing issues. The Council advises observing this without attachment, knowing the mind is a tool, not the director. The Egyptian technique balances mind, body, and consciousness. When used in harmony, your mind becomes a clarifying instrument, translating intuitive knowing into practical action. Type "I align mind and consciousness" to claim this message. The Council now draws your attention to the senses. Your perception may heighten in unexpected ways. Colors may seem brighter, sounds sharper, and tastes more vivid. These are not coincidences. The Egyptian technique awakens subtle sensory perception to support multidimensional awareness. You may notice energy moving through space or feel connection to elements in your environment. Ancient initiates cultivated sensory acuity to navigate consciousness safely and effectively. Now, this ability emerges spontaneously. Pay attention. Sensory clarity informs action, guides intuition, and anchors the awakening in practical experience. Type "I heighten my senses" to claim this message. Finally, the Council emphasizes integration. Activation is only meaningful when it is embodied fully in life. You may feel temptation to escape, avoid, or intellectualize these experiences. The Egyptian technique requires participation. Integration is a practice, not a concept. Each day offers opportunities to ground, breathe, sense, and align. Ancient initiates followed rituals, yet the essence was always the same: conscious embodiment. You are now experiencing this principle naturally. Trust the signals, honor your body, and allow life itself to become the practice. This is mastery without separation. Type "I integrate" fully to claim this message. The Arcturian Council now directs your attention to alignment with purpose. The Egyptian technique unfolding within you is not arbitrary, it is a precise calibration toward the life you were always meant to inhabit. You may feel a sudden pull toward projects, people, or experiences that previously seemed insignificant. These are not coincidences. They are coded invitations from your soul, activating latent pathways to your destiny. Ancient Egyptians referred to this as following the golden thread, a trajectory woven through lifetimes, connecting readiness with opportunity. Modern life often masks this thread beneath distraction, expectation, and self-doubt. Now, as the awakening stabilizes, you may feel moments of profound certainty, a knowing that bypasses analysis or reasoning. The Council stresses that purpose is not always external. It is an internal resonance first. When your energy aligns with this inner directive, external circumstances begin to echo it. Resistance is normal but temporary, as the technique recalibrates your nervous system to trust the guidance of essence rather than habit or fear. You are entering a phase where each choice can reflect both freedom and fidelity to self. Type I align with purpose to claim this message. The Council highlights the recalibration of relationships. As your energy field stabilizes, dynamics with family, friends, colleagues, and partners naturally shift. Some connections may dissolve, while others deepen effortlessly. This is the Egyptian technique at work, reorganizing relational energy to support resonance rather than obligation. You may feel tension or sadness at perceived loss, but this is necessary pruning. Ancient initiates understood that proximity without alignment drains energy, while aligned presence amplifies life force. You may also notice your intuition about people sharpening. You sense intentions, unspoken emotions, and hidden energies more accurately. The Council emphasizes that this is not a tool for judgment, but a compass for choice. Boundaries become natural, not enforced, and interactions flow with integrity rather than effort. Your energy attracts those whose vibration complements your field, accelerating collective awakening without coercion. Type I hone relationships to claim this message. The Council now addresses transformation of creativity. This is not ordinary inspiration, it is an awakening of multidimensional creative intelligence. The Egyptian technique ignites a flow that merges imagination, intuition, and energetic clarity. You may find ideas arriving fully formed, solutions appearing without labor, or artistry emerging in forms you had never attempted before. This creativity is not about performance or validation. It is about manifestation aligned with higher resonance. Ancient Egyptians used creativity as a channel for consciousness expansion, integrating music, art, and ritual into daily life as conduits for alignment. You may notice patterns, symmetries, or concepts revealing themselves effortlessly, as if life itself is instructing you. The Council emphasizes that creativity at this stage is an extension of energetic clarity. The clearer you are internally, the more powerful your external expression. Allow yourself to explore without judgment. Precision emerges through practice and resonance, not force. Type I awaken creativity to claim this message. A significant aspect of this awakening involves the recalibration of fear into discernment. Fear no longer paralyzes, it signals edges of growth. The Egyptian technique converts the energy of fear into a tool for navigation, allowing you to perceive potential threats, opportunities, or growth moments without being trapped by them. You may notice heightened awareness of subtle emotional cues in yourself and others. This is not paranoia, it is refined perception. Ancient initiates experienced fear as a teacher rather than an enemy, recognizing its guidance while refusing control. You may feel vulnerability during this recalibration, but it is necessary. The Council emphasizes that mastery is not the absence of fear, but the transformation of its energy into clarity, courage, and precise action. This phase strengthens intuition, deepens embodiment, and expands conscious influence over both inner and outer environments. Type I transmute fear to claim this message. The Arcturian Council draws attention to abundance. The Egyptian technique awakens a sense of sufficiency within, independent of external circumstances. You may notice old cravings, scarcity beliefs, or dependency patterns dissolving. True abundance emerges when internal resonance matches potential reality. Ancient Egyptians aligned energetic flow with prosperity, understanding that material manifestation is a reflection of internal coherence rather than effort alone. You may experience sudden clarity about resources, opportunities, or support systems that were invisible before. The Council stresses that abundance is multidimensional. It includes time, energy, creativity, connection, and joy, not merely material possessions. Integration of this awareness allows effortless contribution, a balance of receiving and giving that sustains flow without depletion. Your nervous system recalibrates to perceive opportunity rather than limitation, signaling readiness for higher levels of manifestation. Type I embrace abundance to claim this message. The Council now emphasizes the recalibration of self-perception. The Egyptian technique awakens an inner authority that transcends external validation. You may notice a sudden internal confirmation of worthiness, capability, or alignment that does not rely on others' approval. This is not ego inflation. It is coherent self-recognition. Ancient initiates experience this as sovereignty, a state where integrity and alignment govern choices rather than approval or fear. You may also notice increased confidence in expressing truth, setting boundaries, or pursuing your highest path. This does not mean detachment from humanity, it means energetic consistency. The Council stresses that internal authority is foundational for sustainable awakening. It stabilizes decisions, relationships, and contributions while reducing susceptibility to manipulation or distraction. Type I claim my authority to claim this message. Another powerful shift involves perception of time and synchronicity. You may notice that events, encounters, or opportunities unfold in precise alignment with your readiness. The Egyptian technique recalibrates your awareness of cause, effect, and timing, allowing you to move with less friction. Ancient Egyptians trained their consciousness to recognize cycles, rhythms, and correspondence in all aspects of life. You are now experiencing this organically. Moments that once felt random now carry significance, and the sense of being in the right place at the right time strengthens. The Council emphasizes that synchronicity is not magic, it is a reflection of internal coherence expressed externally. Trust your perception and act when alignment is clear, knowing that delay or waiting is a natural component of energetic timing. Type I align with synchronicity to claim this message. The Council brings attention to multidimensional awareness. As the Egyptian technique integrates, you may perceive subtle layers of reality simultaneously, patterns of energy, emotional landscapes, or potential outcomes. This is not detachment from the physical world, but an expanded perception of it. You may notice multiple possibilities or alternative perspectives with clarity, allowing wiser, more coherent decision-making. Ancient initiates understood multidimensional perception as essential for navigating both spiritual and earthly responsibilities. The Council stresses that this does not make you separate from life. It makes you an informed participant. Awareness of multiple layers allows actions to be aligned with highest potential rather than reaction to surface appearances. This capacity will strengthen with practice, patience, and sustained attention. Type I see multidimensionally to claim this message. Now the Council addresses embodiment at the highest level. The Egyptian technique integrates energy, consciousness, and physicality into coherent presence. You may notice alignment between thoughts, emotions, and actions, as if your internal state is translating seamlessly into reality. Ancient initiates describe this as living in embodied resonance, where every choice reflects inner coherence. This does not imply perfection, but conscious integration. You may feel increased ease in relationships, work, creativity, and movement. The Council emphasizes that embodiment is not merely physical, it is energetic, emotional, and mental. Sustaining this integration allows higher dimensional guidance to operate through you naturally, creating measurable impact in everyday life. Type I embody resonance to claim this message. Finally, the council concludes with a reminder: this is not the end of awakening, but the consolidation of the first wave. The Egyptian technique will continue to reveal deeper layers as you remain consistent, present, and intentional. You may feel gratitude, awe, or even disbelief at the breadth of your transformation. Ancient initiates understood awakening as a lifelong unfolding, not a singular event. The council emphasizes patience, gentleness, and consistent alignment. Celebrate your resilience. You have remained present through discomfort, confusion, and expansion. The path ahead is illuminated by the activation now taking root. Trust your process, honor the signs, integrate daily, and know that your awakening is both personal and planetary. You are not alone, and the Arcturian Council continues to support this activation. Your Egyptian codes are fully awakening. Type I claim full awakening to claim this message.